Almost live from the CX Therapy Studio, CX Therapy Special Edition.
Good morning, Max. How are you doing today?
I'm well. I'm a little sleepy yet, still waking up, but life is good. Things are busy. Can you believe it's a new year?
So, not just, I was about to say, not just that. First of all, Happy New Year, Max. But
Happy New Year to you.
beyond that, this is, if I'm not counting it wrong, this is season six. It
Wow.
has, it has been 5 complete years, and we are about to start the 6th year of therapy. It tends to be, what is it? Normally, you go on therapy for 20 years, you pay $200
Right,
a
right.
week.
They can be long-term commitments, so we got a long way to go.
All right. Well, I'm still gonna celebrate each and every small victory along the way. Um, and if I have to look back, this is terrible what I'm about to say. But I don't think the world of CX is any better now than it was 5 years ago. Do you?
No, no, I don't think so. Think about the speaker story. Although I should make a clarifying point on the speaker company story. Turns out the situation I had only happens after hours. That during the day, I did call them later, and during the day, I went to an agent, and the agent was very good, and I got my problem solved. So I feel like, for the record, I should let it be known that
Then it's terrible communication.
yes,
You should be saying between 8 and 6, this is a service you get. After 6, we'll be here for you, but you're going to have to pay for it. It's going to be outsourced.
yeah.
There should be a
Well, they
disclaimer.
just should never do that pay for it outsource thing.
Yeah.
There's no upside to that.
I have tons of stories. I did not prepare, but I have one story that has been bugging me for a while.
Oh,
And
well, we've got the couch. What do you think? Are you ready?
hell yeah, I am going to do some naming and shaming as well today. It's something we never do,
Oh,
but
baby. All right.
so I bought a new car, which is not a new car. I bought a second-hand car from my dad. Um, and why did I do that? Because there is no one on earth who takes better care of his car than my dad. So
Okay. All right.
buying from him is pretty much the same thing as buying directly from the factory. Um, so it was a very safe bet. But my dad was very honest with me. He told me, "Look, there's one issue with the car, which seems to be an electronic issue. And since he was not using the car so much lately, it was not really a problem for him. But, he doesn't want his son to die in a car accident. So he was pretty
Right.
honest about
If you're not giving full disclosure on a purchase to your son,
it.
who are
so,
you giving full disclosure to?
so here is what he said. He said, the car has an electronic issue that has an impact on the outside mirrors that may start
Hmm.
shutting back
Oh,
after a few. It doesn't happen in the first 10 minutes or the first 30 minutes, but after an hour drive sometimes something happens. He can't explain it, and he went to a couple of local stores, and they just could not bother and could not really explain it. They offered to do a proper diagnosis, but he didn't want to bother because it barely ever happened to
the
him. But he said, if you
way
buy
he
the car,
drove it was,
you gotta fix that. So I said, hey, you know what, no problem. I'll figure it out. And that is a Honda. And I love Honda because they are famous for good quality car. You rarely have any problem, and when you do, normally they have all the pieces, and it's easy to maintain and all of that. So I said, yes, let's do that. And the first thing I did was to call two companies, a local garage, three companies, a local garage I was not familiar with, that garage that I'm super familiar with, that a few years back had its own name in the Hall of Fame of great CX companies, and then I called Honda. So I started with the first garage I'm very familiar with. I called them. They said, "Yeah, yeah, bring the car immediately. We'll figure it out." Within an hour, I was there. They looked at it for a couple of hours, and they called me back and said, "Look, this is too technical. It's an electronic issue, it's not mechanical, and
Mm.
I'm not comfortable touching anything here. Maybe we'll fix it. Maybe we'll make things worse. Honestly,
I don't want to do surgery. I'm a general
exactly.
practitioner.
And I like how honest they usually are. So I said, look, if you're not comfortable with it, I'm not going to be pushy because I really don't want you to break it. So I said, all right. Then I contacted Honda. And Honda said, okay, so what's your problem? So I explained the problem. Said, we've never heard of that. Said, look, I checked online. I could find like 50 different threads in France and 200 threads in the UK on forums like Reddit and, other more car specialized forums. It's obviously a known issue for that model.
Mm.
If you guys are not aware, check the market because everyone else is. Say, no, sorry, we're not aware of that, but no problem. Just bring us the car and we'll figure it out. Say, okay. So bring us the car. What does that mean? Well, it means you leave the car and then we'll call you when it's done. So is it
Oh
going to take
no.
like an hour? It's at least 48, maybe 72 hours. Say, wow, okay. The garage is not next door, so it means I have to take an Uber. I have to figure out a way without a car for 48 hours. Would you lend me a car in the meantime? No, we can't do that, but I'd be happy to rent you a car. All right. Okay, so can you tell me how much it's going to cost? Well, we're not going to fix anything at this point. We're just going to run a diagnosis to figure out what's happening. Okay, so 48 hours just to figure out what I know already.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, why not? So the diagnosis itself is free of charge, I assume, and then after I get a quote to decide whether I want to do the change. Oh no, actually, we got a charge for the diagnosis. Okay, how much is it gonna cost me? I can't tell you. It's gonna be about 150 euros an hour. And I said, "It's gonna take 48 hours." No, don't worry. We're not gonna charge you for 48 hours. It's gonna be at least 3 hours though. So, and I'm like, you're gonna charge me 450 euros at least just to tell me what I already know. And at that point, you still haven't fixed anything. There
And you
is a
won't have your car for 2, 3 days.
exactly, and you want to rent another car on top of that. So I just said, look, I'm gonna have to think about it, and I'll get back to you. Then I called the local garage. And the local garage said, send me all the information, send me a couple of pictures so that I understand exactly what model it is, and give me 48 hours, and I'll call you back in 48 hours. So I send them all the picture they asked for. I leave them be for 48 hours, and I have absolutely no hope they're ever going to call back because no one ever calls back when they promise they will. Um, Before the end of the 48 hours, they're calling me back. They're saying, okay, I think I know what the problem is. I checked all the forums I could find. Here's what I'm gonna do. You're gonna bring the car. I cannot do it today because I need to order that piece that I need to replace. It's gonna take probably a week before they deliver the piece to my garage. As soon as they deliver it, you bring your vehicle. It's gonna take me a couple of hours, and I can only hope that it's gonna fix it. I can't guarantee anything. The only way to guarantee it's gonna work is you go back to the factory. For me, I'm gonna try my very best. Say, okay, all right, how much trying your very best is going to cost me? Well, it's going to be 200 euros. And I say, is it for just, manpower or just the material or just a diagnosis? No, it's a whole thing, 200 euros. And I'm going to buy the piece first. I'm going to fix it. There is manpower included. There is VAT included, everything, 200 euros. And I was just thinking, Honda is going to charge me at least 450 euros. They can guarantee the price won't go up just for the initial checking without any information whatsoever about what's going to happen next. They're going to hold my vehicle for at least 48 hours, could be 72 hours. And this local guy who's not specialized is offering me this price and this time frame. So I brought the car, and believe it or not, he fixed the entire thing. I have been driving with a car for 3 or 4 months since this happened, and it's working beautiful. So there is my story. There is
Wow.
my frustration. What?
There's a hero though.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
And it's your hero.
the guy was amazing. and pleasant and everything. So the problem is I'm never gonna bring him my car ever again because he lives a good 500 kilometers away from where I live. He is
Oh,
nearby my parents' home. Recommendation
oh,
of a friend
okay.
of a friend. So
Okay.
I'm never gonna
Oh,
go there
wow.
again.
Right.
Uh, but this is what good service looks like. And he owed me nothing. I mean, Honda kind of owes me something. I'm using your products, guy.
Right. Right.
And I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Well, you know, what strikes me as the biggest difference is he was willing to do the legwork. He did research. He went online, he looked, he got a theory. He spent enough time to be pretty confident enough in his theory to have you do it. The Honda guys were just say, whatever, we'll bring it here and we'll just run a couple of diagnostics, and if we're lucky, we'll find something, and if not, dude, you can just have your mirrors closing or more aerodynamic. So yeah, you might die in a crash, but you'll get better gas mileage. Yeah, I mean the what I love about this story is the power of attitude, because you got two totally different attitudes. You've got Honda, who doesn't care; they're going to do the dead minimum. What keeping it for days is going to do versus just doing the troubleshooting and figuring out what's going on. And clearly, they're not going online and reading anything and trying to find anything that way. Versus, I dug in, I figured it out, and then I'm going to get the part. I'm going to take on that expense, and then I'll charge you for it when we get you fixed. Everything about that approach is so much better.
You know, this is what I would have expected. I think they have guidelines. There's things they can do, things they cannot do. But this is what I would have thought to be the right approach for Honda. First, we're so sorry this is happening to you. That
Yeah,
should
yeah, that would
happen
be
to anyone.
nice. That would be nice. Sounds like there was no sense of anything along those lines.
Second, don't start by saying, oh, this doesn't happen. It's not a known issue. It should be, oh, I'm personally not aware of this, but let me check with
Right,
my colleagues. Let me check with HQ. Let me do some research. Third, it should be, I'm not able to just lend you a car like this, but maybe we can figure out a way that I rent something and it's included in the entire price. If you actually repair with us, we just gonna null it out or whatever. That would have been acceptable. um, and then telling me, look, let me do some research first. I'll check if that is what we believe it could be. This is a range that the end
right,
cost could be. Because just telling me upfront it's going to be at least 450 euros and I have no clue how much it's going to cost to fix it, then it's from zero to $50 million, which probably not
right, right.
$50 million, but it doesn't give me any clue whatsoever. Why would I trust you with that?
Well, clearly, it's a good thing you didn't.
Yeah,
That's
and the other thing is, some other companies, what they do, and they say, okay, I'm going to charge you X dollars for the initial diagnosis. Then they say, but if you do happen to repair it with us, we'll remove that part from the final price. So that is just a way to make sure that you're not just browsing everywhere and in
right,
the end taking
right.
the cheapest or whatever. Everything about the experience was frustrating. Everything.
So you mentioned something I want to pick up on. How much of this do you think was big organization? I assume the garage was large, probably part of a dealership, part of a bigger company. How much of this is corporate policy versus a guy who really just is there to focus on his customers?
I think that's mostly corporate policy, even though it's very surprising because Japanese brands, generally speaking, are known for good quality service.
Right.
But maybe it's a French branch that is different. I don't know. The person I had on the phone was a lady who was actually very pleasant, not aggressive at all, which make me think about another story I had just this afternoon. Very different in terms of aggressivity. But focusing on this one, the person was very pleasant. She was just not apologetic at all. I'm just thinking, what happens if I have a crash on the highway? me, my wife, my 4 years old kid, we die in a terrible accident. What kind of advertising is that for your brand, saying that there was an issue known that you did not want to deal
Oh
with?
boy. Right.
I don't know. There is customer service. There is thinking long term about, is this guy going to buy a Honda again in the future? And there is bad publicity of what could happen when you have an accident just because they don't care. And all of that, I don't know. I think you can feel I'm still a bit frustrated, even though it has been fixed for months now.
Yeah. Um, this strikes me. Uh, there's an interesting. There's a very real uh, belief that we all have that when you provide good customer service, you build customer loyalty. That helps with spend in the long run, etc. I think I've said this on this podcast before, but I'll say it again. I talked to some people from a car dealership company in the US and talked about Electronic Arts, which is a game, a video game company. And they did a study and they looked at the purchasing behavior of people who had a good customer service experience, people who had no customer service experience, and people who had a bad customer service experience. And they were able to document exactly what you would expect. Good customer experience, people spent more. No experience, slowly drifted down. Bad experience, see you later. I talked to these people at the car dealership and they said, yeah, the only problem is people buy a car on average every 8 years. All of my C-suite will be gone in 8 years. It's very hard to get them to care about, providing good service to help build loyalty to get them to buy the next car that they're not going to buy until after these guys are moved on to their next job. So
So this is
there,
where they are
there
wrong.
is that element.
I understand that, but this is where they're wrong. First, when you buy a car every 8 years, you don't spend $50. You spend a sufficient amount of money to justify that you want that customer. Number two, you have the halo effects, the word of mouth effect, which is
Yeah.
when a customer is unhappy and he happens to have a podcast to talk about customer experience, he tends to bitch about the brand.
This doesn't help. Yeah, exactly.
But you don't even need to have a podcast. I would tell now my family, my parents, my friends who are thinking about buying a car, are you happy with the car? I am. Are you happy with the service you get when you try to maintain it? Absolutely not. I would not even call them next time I have an issue. And here is a third element. Yes, you might buy a car for yourself every 8 years, but my wife may buy a car for herself. My daughter, I may buy a car for her. I may need to help my parents change their own car at some point when they feel too old to do it on their own. You
Yeah,
have a strong influence on many people. So maybe you buy a car for yourself every 8 years, but you probably influence people every couple of years, and that should count for something. And there is a last element, which is just being a human person. Uh, and
yeah.
giving a shit about what you do on a daily basis, that should matter a little bit as well, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and it is ironic that it sounds like, well, the woman you were speaking with, who you said was very friendly, was she just friendly and cold, or was she empathetic was she just
She
like,
was not
oh,
reading from a script. She was human. She was not cold, but there was no negotiation. These are the rules. Like friendly, but very. There is another theory I have, which is they consider themselves a premium brand, and they are available for people who are willing to spend money, people who are not going to count. And maybe the fact that some people like me would buy secondhand for a fair price, we may not be the right customer. They might only serve, even though I have a hard time with that theory because they also have more affordable models. They don't just have like expensive cars. So
right,
they should be
right.
able to cater for everyone. But maybe they consider themselves to be a premium brand and will be more than happy to help you because we know you're not going to count every dollar. well, I'm sorry, I'm a customer who actually looks at the bill and is not willing to pay 10% of the car every time I need to fix it.
Yeah. No, that's yeah. This is the two words that come to mind are epic fail.
Yeah, that
I
sounds like a
just
very good summary. I'm gonna start my hole of shame, and that hole will start with an H.
yeah, this
For
this
hole.
is this is a bad one. I you know, I keep almost like the only way I can give anything other than just ugh on this is I can imagine that kind of electrical thing can be really hard to troubleshoot and really hard to figure out. Um,
If a local
but
guy
I
is
mean, you
not
got a
from the
guy who
brand,
figured it out. Exactly.
and
Exactly.
he didn't even charge me for. I guess he spent tons of time doing his own research on stuff that they should not even need to research because just asking HQ should give them
Right.
enough.
Right. There's got to be someone at Honda who knows that's an issue. There's just no
So
way.
I
Yeah.
mean, I feel better because
Well,
I
good.
talked it out because I was able to have that conversation with you. I'm not gonna go back there anymore, but I feel some solace in being able to speak it out. So in a way,
Well,
I think
that's
it feels
good.
good.
And just from now on, don't let any weird things happen to your cars.
Can't promise this is gonna be true, but I'll try my very best. Max, super happy to see you again in 2026, ready for an entire year of bad customer experiences. And I really look forward to listening to the next story, which might actually be yours.
It might be mine. We've got some guests queued up. We might start getting the guests back in here too. So,
Exactly. Well, thank
well,
you very much.
my pleasure. Thank you. And I'm glad whatever solace this talk therapy does is doing its job.
It is. Have a beautiful, foggy day, and I will talk to you in a few days' time, Max. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Sounds
Thank you,
good.
everyone.
Thanks.
Have a
Take
lovely day.
care. Bye, everybody.